Is creating content on YouTube more complex than it needs to be? This is what I'm wondering. So, I started reading this book called The YouTube Formula, and so far, it's actually really good. So, it talks about how YouTube started, which actually is fascinating because it started as a dating site and clearly that did not work out well, but it transformed into something totally different, essentially almost like a TV network. I mean, in some respects, I mean, I feel like people watch YouTube as if it is a TV. So, I would say so, a television network. And the book talks about um, how the founders of YouTube pivoted. So basically, they started as this dating site and then they got feedback from the people using the site. And when people started uploading things, they weren't uploading the dating videos that they wanted them to upload. Instead, they were just uploading themselves doing funny things or embarrassing things or honestly just doing things on video. And so it kind of served a purpose different from what they intended. And so they took that as feedback and then they pivoted and they were like, okay, well, we wanted it for this, but this is how people are actually using it. So let's run with it. And I was like, that's very interesting. And so his whole point in saying that was when you are creating content on YouTube, you need to understand your goal and then receive feedback, of course, valid feedback. And he goes into this whole thing about, whose feedback matters and whose doesn't, and how sometimes it's better to get no feedback than to get the wrong feedback. And then he says you assess, you analyze the data that you get, and then you use that to make a decision going forward. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's like regular stuff, right? So looking at who's consuming your content, what kind of feedback they're giving you, and then deciding, what do people actually want from you, as opposed to what you're giving them, and making adjustments as necessary. And I was like, okay, cool, that's all well and good. But then he started getting into analytics, and I've never looked at. I don't even know where to go on YouTube to find the analytics at this point. But I'm also very early in my YouTube career, so I'm guessing that at some point that's something I'm gonna find out. But he talked about looking at analytics and really evaluating the data and using it to inform the content you make going forward. Another thing I thought was really interesting that he said was your first 100 videos are basically going to be trash. And I was like, well, dang, because I have not put out 100 videos, but I'm like, at the rate that I'm producing videos, that's probably going to take me years unless I somehow double or triple my output. So that's something that I thought was fascinating because he was saying what's going to happen is you get started, you consume more YouTube videos, and then you start to see, what works, what doesn't work, what kind of content you're consuming, what you like about that content, etc. And then that causes you to make improvements to your content. And so as you're producing these videos, they get better and better and better, but generally the first 100 are going to be trash. And I was just like, dang. So I have a long way to go. I'm still in the trash phase, so bear with me. I did start looking up, just an aside from the book, I started looking up different tools to use. So in my previous videos, I was using this ring light. And I actually like the ring light, but the way that my desk is set up, it doesn't really work because I have to have one of those tripods where you screw on the ring light and it had to be like attached or whatever. It just wasn't really working. And then like sometimes during the video, the ring light would fall. And then when I was traveling, the ring light wasn't really working. And so I ended up getting this really cool light that attaches to my phone, like as a clip. I'm gonna include the link in my description, but it's actually really great. It fits in my backpack and I take it when I travel for work or whatever, because I travel a lot, and I can still create content with my very small set of tools that I have. And I love that for me, right? Because at the end of the day, like if it's too difficult, if creating the content is too difficult, too burdensome, too technical, it's just not going to get done. Anyways, so I'm happy with my setup now, but back to the book. So right now I'm at the place in the book where he's talking about making sure that you please the algorithm. So I just finished chapter 5, I believe, and he said a lot of mistakes that creators make is they upload videos that are just like all over the place. So, you know, 1 minute they're uploading a video about, I think he's talking about long form videos, not shorts, because I don't even know if shorts existed when that book was written, but we'll see. So he's talking about like 1 minute you're uploading a photo of you jumping on a trampoline and falling and hurting yourself, you know, because you want to get laughs. But then the next moment you're uploading a video, like a makeup tutorial. And he's like, you're confusing the algorithm and they don't know where to send your content and what audience you're actually targeting. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, okay, so far, I'm talking about actually 3 different things on YouTube. So the first topic is being new to YouTube. And honestly, it's more of a chronicles for myself. Like I've never gathered data on like how far I've come, and I feel like that's super motivational. So I want to see like over time, what does the evolution look like, you know? I want to have like an archive of videos where I can say, okay, this is where I started and this is where I'm at now. Like I want to be able to look back and see what kind of improvements I made. And just also just if I stuck with it. So I'm interested in that, but I'm also just interested in connecting with other people who are new to YouTube and just going through the struggle. Like I feel like it's more complicated than say Instagram or even like LinkedIn, just other social media channels. It just feels more complicated. It feels more, you have to be more strategic, it seems, on YouTube. So I was thinking about that. Okay, so I have that one topic, just the topic of being new to YouTube and the struggle of creating the right content and targeting the right people and pleasing the algorithm and blah, 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 blah. So that's my one topic. But then I also talk about private lending, and that's a topic I'm really excited about. I post videos about it, but does the algorithm get confused when I talk about private lending because it's not really related to being new to YouTube? And I don't know, you know, I guess I'll have to continue reading the book and see how to find out if I'm confusing the algorithm. And then my third topic will be real estate. So just giving an overview or more like an archive of stories about my real estate investments. So I'm gonna do one property per episode and essentially just share the story and spill the tea about how I acquired that property, what the struggles were, pitfalls to avoid, etc. Haven't released one of those yet, but that's my plan. And so I wonder if there is a way to tie all of those 3 together so that it doesn't feel like I'm confusing the algorithm. And I guess that's something I can think about. Maybe I'll just ask ChatGPT, you know, might have some answers for me. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting because I was like, okay, you really do have to be strategic on here, it seems, you know. I mean, I'm on Instagram, on my stories, I pretty much talk about whatever I want, but it's mostly real estate related. But sometimes it's a video of my cat, and that's a part of my life. So I just feel like it's relevant. And, you know, sometimes people want to know about you and your life and not just the money making aspect or the business stuff. Like sometimes they just want to know a little bit about you. And I don't know what that's like on YouTube. And one thing he said is make sure that you are a consumer that consumes for education. So basically, when he said when you're watching YouTube videos from now on, you're watching to understand how they're performing their strategy. So I often watch Myron Golden, and he's very explicit in talking about how he uses YouTube and what works and what doesn't work. But not all creators are like that. Like not all creators are doing this kind of meta analysis of talking about being on YouTube while on YouTube. You know, a lot of them are just sharing their content. And so now I have to be a consumer of YouTube videos that actually thinks about, okay, what does their thumbnail look like? Did it catch my attention? How is their content organized? Is it easy to follow? Is it organized in chapters? Do they have captions? You know, how are they transitioning? Just all these things that I'll have to be thinking about now instead of just being a consumer of the content. So that's something I'm not totally looking forward to, because I mean, if I'm on YouTube looking at a video, I'm trying to get the information from the video. I'm not really trying to learn about YouTube, but I think I can manage a way to do both, and I'll provide an update on that. But for now, I'll do my best to consume in a way that is educational rather than just entertaining or me gathering information. But yeah, those are my updates on being new to YouTube. So far, it's going fine. I think not looking at the analytics for now is helping me develop consistency, because honestly, sometimes, like when I first started looking at the analytics on Instagram, I was so discouraged. I was like, I just wish I didn't see this. It's not helpful. And for a while, I just didn't look. And so I kind of feel the same way about YouTube. I'm like, let me just get into the mode of consistently creating the content and learning about it, through books. I love books, so I'll be reading about it. I'll probably watch some YouTube videos about it and just keep producing and creating. And then later, when it gets more serious, um, I'll look at the analytics. And when I say gets more serious, I mean when I establish consistency. Because right now it's only been, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe, or two. And I don't feel like I have a rhythm yet. So that's why I'm not gonna look at the analytics. But when I do, I'll let you know and we'll take it from there.